every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
In today's complex mortgage world, finding the right direction can be challenging. That's where Lighthouse Advisors comes in. With over 25 years of experience, we provide fractional leadership and executive oversight, guiding companies through transitions, growth, and innovation. From IMBs to brokers to credit unions to tech firms, our team of seasoned professionals is here to shine a light on solutions, ensuring your business thrives in every environment. At Lighthouse Advisors, we don't just guide, we empower. Together, let's create a ripple of success across the industry. Email us today at laura@lighthouseadvisors.com. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the incredible Lindsley Harris. She is the Growth Strategy and Partnerships Manager at Inferred. Lindsley, thank you so much for joining us today, and we cannot wait to listen to all of your insights. Okay, to kick us off, one of the things we'd like to start with is, we learn so much from others. We learn so much from the people we're surrounded by the things we read, by the environment we're in. And sometimes those things sit with us and help us to be applied to our professional and personal lives. So we would love to hear, what is something that has really stood out to you, a piece of advice that you have taken and applied to your life?
Oh, wow. That's such a good question. Thank you. What comes to mind for me is, and this is something my mother taught me, and I've heard other women in the industry tell me, but people will forget what you said and then they'll forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And so it's always top of mind to even have warm interactions or make people feel welcome or at home in your presence. And that's something I always think about, especially upcoming conference seasons and networking events, and people that are newer to the industry. That's probably something that's really stuck with me throughout my career.
So important. And yes, that's Maya Angelou that actually said that particular quote that a lot of us live by. And Lindsley, I'd love for you to share with us. I know you said being welcome, being present, helping people that are newer to the industry, but go a little bit deeper for us. What are some additional things or little touches that you do that makes that lasting impression? And I have to tell you, you are very warm and engaging. So that's actually how we got to even doing this, because we saw each other at a Housing Wire event. And I was like, okay, we need to bring you in and share your wisdom. So what are some other things that you do to make that connection?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to remember personal things about people's family and pets. That's always, I find, very helpful, and it establishes connection when you ask people about their dog and you remember their name, or, what grade their kids are, or, what sports they play. When I was at Housing Wire, that's something I always thought about. I pretty much knew all of my colleagues' significant others and what was going on in their lives. So I would say that's the main thing.
I love that. I think that's so important. And it's funny. I can remember, I'm going to actually say her name. I remember Heidi Belnay is a friend, and she serves on the Women with Vision board, and she's part of NBA New Jersey Women's Committee. And I always remember she told me a story about her very first mortgage conference she ever went to. She was a young lady, brand new to the industry, and she knew what people she was going to try to meet with. But before she went, she researched them. She went on LinkedIn, or she went on their website, or she just looked them up, and she learned things like what you said, their favorite sports team, or they live in Arizona, or the little things about them. And when she met them, she brought those things into the conversation. So just what you were just saying, right? having that information, and do you keep that like in your CRM or something? How do you remember it?
I don't know. I always kind of do, and it makes people feel really seen. I'm very close with Amy Moses, and her dog passed. I want to say a few years back. Her name was Gracie. But just like a few things like that, I don't know, I just always think about, and Jessica from National Mortgage News, she just got married this year. You just kind of know when you get to know people, these things about them and their lives.
I love that. I love that. And it really is so special, and it does separate you from everyone else. So great tip and fabulous wisdom. Okay. With that, leadership is such an important factor. And leadership, why we say this, leadership is not a title. Leadership it has nothing to do with what position you are in. But I believe it's so valuable in our lives, not just professionally, but personally. And I'd love to hear from your perspective. What do you think one of the most important traits of a leader is, and why?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Such a good question. Can I say two?
Of course.
Okay. So the first one is I would definitely say humility, being able to admit when you're wrong or when you've made a mistake. It humanizes you. It makes everyone feel more comfortable in your presence. The skill to apologize is a big one because everybody makes mistakes. And then I would also say being a good listener to your team and your colleagues.
Wow. Such valuable, right? And there's one of those things, sometimes I refer to things as that's a rookie mistake, meaning sometimes when you're a new leader, you don't realize the mistake you're making. And the first thing that you said about having that humility and saying, hey, I made a mistake on this. Sometimes when you're a new leader, you think that you have to be perfect. You think that you always have to have the answers. No, not at all. None of us have all the answers. And none of us are, even if you're the leader, that doesn't mean you have all the answers. You have to refer to your team. You have to bring other experts into the conversation. And when we make a mistake, that shows leadership when we admit that and we say, okay, I learned this. Let me explain to everyone kind of this was the decision. I then learned I didn't have all the facts, right? I didn't have all the facts. Now that I have the facts, we're going to pivot, right? And going forward, we're going to make sure we have all the facts before we make a decision, right? So that is a leadership quality, like you said. And then the listening, that's on a whole new thing because sometimes people think they're listening. They're really, this, of course. They're listening to respond.
Yes.
So speak about that. Like, how do you not listen to respond, but you actually are present with it?
Oh, for sure. I think, wow. So I think first you need to respond to what the person is saying, and then you need to have your response ready of what you thought you were going to say. But I think first you need to acknowledge and address what the person has just said to you. And in that, exchange, you're offering grace to the person and they're offering grace back to you, right? You're not preparing for an argument. And I always say I'm a terrible arguer, and it's because it takes me quite a bit to come up with my point because I am receiving information at the same time. So yeah, I would probably say that.
I love that you recognize that because you have clearly defined that you like to be present and receive and allow yourself enough time to process what you have received before you have that comeback, quote, comeback, right? Because you are absorbing it. You're not just ready like to come back with that quick-witted response, right? Or that, coming out. So that's great that you recognize that because then others around you understand that you need a moment to process it because you're taking in all of the information. That's great.
Oh, for sure. And I think with me, it's the same with feelings, right? Sometimes I don't recognize my own feelings right away. And it takes me a little bit to be like, oh, this is actually how I feel. Like I need a beat across the board to figure things out sometimes.
I love that you have acknowledged that because everything, there's a part of leadership, right? Like let's start there, like in this conversation. The first person you have to lead is yourself.
Yeah.
It starts with us. You cannot be a leader until you understand yourself and who you are. And actually, I'm gonna share with you, and I think I've said this before. I started a podcast. My very first podcast I ever did on a weekly basis was in 2019. Okay. The original reason why it started was two reasons. One, I had a woman that it's actually a funny story. I was on a podcast and she reached out to me and said, "Oh my God, Laura, I loved your story. I live in Arizona. You're in Arizona part of the year. Can I meet you?" And I actually met this woman like at a restaurant. We met at a restaurant and we hit it off. And I said to her, "What is something you've never done, but you'd love to do?" And she's like, "I'd love to start a podcast." So I was like, let's start a podcast. From this moment, let's do it, right? So part of the reason was I was trying to help her to be able to do something. But the second part was when in my situation, when I was rising through the ranks and getting to the top of an organization, when you get to that point, a lot of times people just yes you. They're not honest with you. And a lot of it is you giving a lot of your opinion, but you're not listening to as many opinions. Okay. So I recognized that's an issue. It's an issue. And part of the reason why I have never stopped doing a podcast since 2019 is because it teaches me to listen to you.
I see that. That's amazing. You're
So,
leading yourself.
because I recognized an issue and I'm like, I need to put myself in check. I have to lead myself. So for everyone out there, whether it's showing up on time, whether it's putting on your tennis shoes or sneakers and going to the gym, whether it's, doing the report that you absolutely can't stand doing it, you put it to the bottom of the pile. It starts with you. Do some of the things that maybe you've put off or the things that you really don't enjoy as much. Lead yourself first, because when you lead yourself first, it makes it easier to help others.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Final question and my most favorite. Okay. I like to say that I have a magic wand because honestly, in my brain, I believe I do. I believe I can make whatever I want to be accomplished if we work hard enough. So I want you to share with all of us, okay? If you have no restrictions, no limitations, just you can make anything happen, and it doesn't have to be professional. It can be something personal, anything that's important to you. What is your moonshot? What would be that thing that you would go after?
Yeah. So, I mean, personally, I would love to scuba dive. It has always been a dream of mine. I just haven't quite taken the plunge to do it yet. It does make me a little bit nervous, and I'm not licensed and I don't know what that process looks like. I'm also a little bit of an anxious traveler outside the US. So, I mean, I have been outside of the US like a handful of times, but every time I'm a little bit anxious, this is so vulnerable today, Laura.
I love it.
And so
Let's hear it.
I would really like to scuba dive and then see the coral reefs and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. So that would be, my moonshot, and I think I will achieve that.
Oh, no, I know you will
yeah.
achieve that.
Yes.
That's
So
the
that would
point.
be it.
That's the point of sharing it. Because once you share it with the world, it now puts a little bit of pressure on you, right? That you're like, you know what? I put that out there. Like I've got to take steps. And I will tell you, like my sister-in-law years ago, she did that. Like she always wanted to do scuba diving. She went and she took the classes and she got certified and she went and she did it. And I got to tell you, I mean, she enjoyed it so much. It was like life-changing for her. So I'm pretty confident here that you're going to start looking at those steps of making that happen. Oh, I can like envision the coral reef and all of that and you doing that. Oh my gosh. So why do you want to do it?
I there's something about like the underwater that I love. Every city I go to in the US, if there's an aquarium, I'll go to it. And it's just something I like deeply love. And I don't know, it's very calming. I've been to the Dallas World Aquarium so many times. I've been to the Las Vegas Aquarium. I've been in Gal. I really love like fish and underwater and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And I know seeing it for the first time, like being underwater would mean a lot to me. Yeah,
Right? It's like
it
your
is something
eyes
I
are going to
have
be
to do.
big.
Hmm.
All right, so we're putting it out there to everyone listening that at some point Lindsley's going to tell us when she accomplishes that because we know that's going to happen. And we can't wait to see the photographs and the video and everything else of when that day comes because we know that you're someone that if you put it out there, you're going to achieve it. Well, Lindsley, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights. Keep shining brightly, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Laura.